Hi, my name is Rachel McNair, and I want to make the case to my fellow peace activists as to why ranked choice voting is important for peace activism. Now, say you have a candidate that's running president, senator, house, whatever. You cannot stand this candidate because this candidate wants to increase the military budget and modernize nuclear weapons and is belligerent about the wars going on now, and you just can't stand this candidate, but you got to vote for this candidate because the other one is even worse. We've had this over and over again. I mean, we either go ahead and vote for the lesser candidate, or we vote third party, and then everybody blames us for not voting for the lesser candidate and thereby helping the greater evil to win. Now, it's worse than this because it also is that right now, here's the greater evil and here's the lesser evil, and here are all of us over here, and we're going to have to vote for the lesser evil, and the lesser evil knows that he or she has all these votes over here and therefore moves closer to the greater evil in order to get the votes here. Get more votes that way. In other words, the current system is set up to make our candidates worse on our issues. Now, with ranking, you say, here's my first choice, and then here's my second choice, and here's my third choice. If your first choice doesn't make it, then your second choice counts. So your vote moves. You still have just one vote, but your vote moves to your second choice. And then if that doesn't go, moves for your third choice. So you can vote for who you actually want first, and then do the lesser evil in your lower rankings. So you haven't kicked it over to the greater evil, but you have communicated what you actually wanted. And that means also, of course, that the candidates who are good from our point of view, or at least more tolerable, will get more support, and therefore the movement is over towards the better stand on issues rather than the current system towards the worse. So, battle is a common metaphor for what we're doing in elections, which means, of course, it's won by people who are better at doing battle. And part of that is the incentive that candidates have to demonize each other. Now, demonizing is the word we use in war. In elections, it's called mudslinging. So you'll have one candidate say about the other candidate, well, my opponent was caught cheating on a spelling test in the third grade. Okay, I made that one up, but, it's not that far off. But what happens with ranked choice voting is this candidate can get the second rankings of people who will give the opponent first rankings, and that is worth doing because it makes you more likely to win. You want to get not only first rankings, but second and third rankings and fourth if you can. But you're not going to get those second rankings if you insult their preferred candidate. So you don't. I mean, this is what's shown in experience. I mean, I'm giving you the philosophy of it, but we also know that this has happened in the real world. So what happens is that this candidate instead says, well, my opponent's policy on X is a good one, but mine is better for this and this reason. Well, I mean, of course, that's what elections are supposed to be about, actually developing policy, getting the will of the voters in the nuances of policy instead of in the bad oversimplification that comes with the mudslinging that goes on. So that's another way that ranked choice voting helps in the cause of making elections more peaceful. Okay, now here's another problem. Over here, you have a candidate that wins with a third of the vote. It's a primary, a whole bunch of other candidates split up the vote, and so this candidate wins with a third of the vote. Over here, you have the exact same thing. Third of the vote, bunch of other candidates. In our current system, they win. In our current system, you can't distinguish between the two. But over here, this person is good enough to get second rankings from a quarter more of the people. Quarter of the people that say, well, not my first choice, but certainly okay. third and a quarter, that's over half now. That candidate has majority support. Now, over here, this candidate has a very enthusiastic one-third following, but the majority is actually against this candidate. This candidate's something of a, demagogue. Therefore, this candidate cannot get enough second and third rankings and cannot win. Our current system has no way of distinguishing between these two candidates, but with ranking, the one that is acceptable to a majority wins, and the one that is not acceptable to a majority can't.